Hey everyone, Egman here with my first set 8 deck profile, which I'm really excited to talk about. Before I do, I just want to remind you guys that I am an affiliate for TCG Player. That means if you click on the link below and then you go to the website and then buy any cards on there, I get a little bit of a percentage back there. So if you need any pre-orders for this new set and you don't have a local game store, I'm going to stress this. Please support your local game stores. Don't do this if you have a store down the street that's struggling for business. Please support them first. But if that's not the case, please support me second. But seriously, if you need anything from this set, especially when the set comes out, please consider using my link. It helps me out a lot, and it doesn't cost you any extra. So let's go into my first deck list. And this one's a bit of a doozy to start with. If you know me, I like kind of like alternative win conditions and weird, wacky ways to play the game. And I decided to do this and also make it a tricolor deck, which might be a little bit too crazy, but let's just kind of jump on into it. So first of all, these guys have awful names, and by awful I mean I can't pronounce them half the time, so sorry about that. I know they're wrong. Please bear with me. But Dr. Uiro and Dr. Kochin, when you play this card in your leader area, choose up to one Dr. Uiro's lab from your deck and activate it, which is the 6-drop field card. We're going to talk about that in a minute. When this card attacks a leader card, look at the top 7 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to one Frenzied Warrior card among them, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. And the awaken for this is when you have 4 or more energy, or your life is at 3 or less, you may choose up to 2 of your energy, switch to an active mode, and flip this card over. I really like this kind of alternative way to awaken, just because this is a more control deck, which means you're not, trying to get as much from your life as possible. Which means, turn 4 it's pretty viable for you to have like 6 or 7 life still, and you want to awaken, and so being able to have that option I think is really cool. So there's that, and then on the awaken side, so when it attacks, you just draw a card. Active main once per turn, choose one card in your hand, place it in your drop area, choose up to one keyword skill on one of your opponent's battle cards, and negate it for duration of the turn. This is really only helpful for like eliminating barrier, since this this is active main and not active battle like Toa is, but it still can be kind of useful. It can also remove like blocker if that's important, but not super useful outside of that. And then because you can't get rid of like double strike or crit, because it's just duration of the turn, not until the end of your opponent's turn. But also it has an active main that says if your Dr. Uiro's lab in your barrier has 17 or more cards under it, you win the game, which is the phrase I saw and like, okay, let's see how viable this really is. So this lab that you get out for free is honestly an awesome card. So permanent, your battle cards can't be switched to rest mode by your opponent's card skill, and you can only use blue or green cards to place cards under this card. Which pretty much means that 2-drop red like Sapopovich or whoever it was, you can't just put 5 cards under there. That'd be super broken. Also, permanent, this card can't be removed from a battle area by your opponent's card skills, which just means that your opponent can't use the World Martial Arts Piccolo to cheese out your win condition from not activating anymore. And then active main for 2, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost of 4 or less and place it under this card. This is like stupidly good to have just for whatever. Hey, you want to just use 2 energy to get rid of your opponent's card that costs 4 or less. That's really good. That's good for card economy. That's good for energy economy too. So that's great. And it pairs up really nicely with the awaken side. So if they have like this barrier card that you really don't like, you can just remove barrier with this and then use 2 energy and just get rid of it. So that's a really cool, nice pairing of the two. And the card goes under your lab too, so it just furthers your win condition there. Let's talk about the cards inside. So I'm going to talk about the Frenzied Warriors first. These are the 4. I don't think there's any more of them right now, but there are 4 of them right now. Actually, I think there is more. There's the Piccolo, right? He's a Frenzied Warrior. Yeah, but I didn't put him in this. But we've got Bioman. Really, I wish... I don't know, the list for this, since I'm going tricolor, is a bit tight, and so I had to cut corners somewhere. I think this was the one that made the least sense to have 4 of, but it's always great to have more of them, especially since you want as many Frenzy Warriors in your deck, so you can always hit them with your leader and also the 2-drop one. But This one, you just play this card, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, choose up to one Dr. Uiro or Dr. Cochin among them, and add them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This could also be really good because you need probably 2 of these to go off to win the game easily. So being able to find 2 of these can be important. So if you like this card more than your Kashime, go for it. I'd say that these cards. This should be kind of preference between the two, because this one does when you play this card, place the top card from your deck place the top card of your deck under a Dr. Year's Lab in your battle area, then draw 1. So this, the same kind of thing, it replaces itself, but this also furthers your win condition by putting 1 under your lab. So I just put him at 4, but I think there's some wiggle room there. But this guy, I think, is deserving at 4 of. So it has blocker and then auto. When this card activates blocker, place the top card of your deck under your lab in your battle area. Then this card can't be KO'd in battle by battle cards with the original power of 15k or less during the battle. So this guy's just really good at being annoying. It's great for just absorbing attacks and making your opponent swing with 2 things to get rid of 1 thing. It furthers your win condition and just overall a great card. And then also we just have the super combo, so having a searchable super combo is fantastic for an archetype, and so you get to look at it from there. And then we also have the 2-drop Dr. Cochin, the Fairy Scientist, so you can only have 1 of these in your battle area, but it reduces the energy cost of all Frenzied Warriors in your hand by 1. That does not mean that these guys are free. It still has the specific energy cost of the 1 green. It doesn't reduce that, so these are still 1, but these are, it pretty much is just this guy turns into a 1-drop. But he's great because when you play this card, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 Frenzied Warrior card among them, add them to your hand, shuffle your deck, then choose up to 1 Frenzied Warrior card in your hand with any cost of 2 or less and play it. So it's just being able to do like a search and play is good enough most of the time, especially if you're able to get this guy out for free because you played 4 energy worth of stuff for 2. But he's fantastic, and I think he's worth 4 of, especially if you decide to put in the Piccolo into it. We'll go talk about him later. And then I guess there's also the other 2-drop Madness Wand, Dr. Cochin. So he's blocker with Revive. Revive is the new keyword for this set, and it's blue-green. So place cards in your hand in your drop area that match colors specified by Revive. Also, I'm 99% sure this is how it works, but if it says Revive blue-green, you can probably just pitch 1 blue-green card to fill its requirements. That's how I've been playing it. No one's to stop me, so tell me if I'm wrong. But when this card is KO'd, play this card and negate the skill for additional turn. So it comes back out for once. And then auto, choose 1 card in your hand and place it under your lab in your battle area. When you play this card, draw 1. So that means when you play it, from your hand, you cycle 1. And then also, when you revive it, you get to draw 1 again. So, you have to put 1 into your lab, but you get to draw 1 again. So that's really cool. And that kind of is the same reasoning with this 3-drop Dr. Uiro. So blocker, revive, blue-green, and then also auto. When you play this card, choose up to 2 of your opponent's, or 2 battle cards in your opponent's drop area and place those cards under your, this card or your lab in your battle area. This is actually pretty fantastic, being able to kind of, since we're approaching a game state where cards that are in your drop are more important, and also sparking is important, making sure that we have X amount of cards there. And since we're not really an aggressive deck, we aren't filling our opponent's drop area for them. If we play these, if we get 2 cards out of their drop, that could be really important. It could be the difference between sparking, activating, and there's just a lot more revive things coming out with this set. Literally, with the new keyword and everything, but more things that, do stuff in the drop area, that being able to just remove them from literally the game by putting them under your field card can make a really big difference. And this is, once again, every time that this guy dies and you revive it, you can just play him again. And so that's just 2 more cards, and it can start building up really quickly. And it has blocker, does not have barrier, which is kind of a shame, but also if they KO it, you can just bring it back for free. So there's that. What else? Let's talk about the other blue-green cards. So we run just 4 of this Android 17, and it's if you have a blue-green multicolored card in your energy, negate this card's energy exhaust in all areas. The auto, once per turn, when your opponent combos, choose up to 1 of those cards, place it at the bottom of your owner's deck, then negate the skill for duration of the game. I've never ever used this, but it could be cool. It could be nice, but It doesn't have immediate skill, which is kind of bad, but you also want as many of these blue-green cards in your hand, just so you can only, discard one card for a revive effect. So there's that, and then there's the 6-drop Dr. Uiro. So block or deflect. Auto, when you play this card, choose one. Place the top 6 cards of your deck under your lab, or choose up to 6 cards in your drop area and place them under your lab in your battle area. Normally, you just want to do, your top 6 of your decks, but if you're, worried about milling or something like that, just do cards from your drop area. But you want to make sure you still have your sparking and everything. But it's nice that it gives you that option, so you don't have to like deck yourself out if that's the case. And then also says blocker, and then auto, when this card activates blocker, switch to active mode. So that's fantastic too, being able to block two swings with this guy. Normally, how this deck works is that you need to play 2 of the 6 drops to get through. It's pretty easy to get about 5 cards up to turn 6 into your lab, but you have to play at least one of these 6 drops. I think that's the key. I wanted to cut it down to 3, but it was too important, and you need to see one at least one every game. You can kind of make up the difference with Gigantic Bomber if they keep trying to kill it and you keep bringing it back, but you really want to drop at least one of these every game, and so you need to get to 6 energy. And my idea for that is being able to stall out your opponent and do that kind of stuff. That's kind of why I put the yellow stuff in. So I really wanted to play Chomp of the Trickster. This card's fantastic for making sure that your opponent's big bad boss monster can't go off. You just Chomp of the Trickster it, and then it replaces itself, which is nice, with 1 card draw. It's yellow. You just need multicolored cards, so you just need your even though it's blue-green, it's still a multicolored card in there. So you're good to go. And it also has really good potential with Flying Nimbus too. If your opponent's just trying to go in, and then you just use a Nimbus and drop once again either Chomp of the Trickster, or for this case Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts, you can just really stop your opponent, like stifle their plays, and you have so many blockers out normally too that they can't touch you, which is just super nice. And then I just use Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts. This might not be the best choice, but I just thought, we need more yellow cards. This card can get you card draw. For 2 energy, you get to draw 2 cards, which can be really important in this deck, just because there's a lot of pitching and trying to keep even with your opponent. Being able to draw 2 cards for quote unquote free, I think makes sense. And it's just yellow, so that was important enough for me. And after that, I think the only other card to talk about is Focus Breakthrough. So I haven't really used this card in the deck, but I thought it was cool. It's a counterplay if your leader card is green and your life is at 4 or less. The battle card being played has an energy cost of 3 or less. It's placed in your owner's drop area instead of being played. And also permanent, if you have a multicolored card and your energy and your life is at 4 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. That's pretty much it. It looked like a neat card. I haven't used it yet. We could be in some trouble with having to use our energy smartly, because normally what you have to do is you have to wait until turn 6 to awaken, and then plop down this Dr. Uiro, and then awaken from there, just so you have 2 energy for a defense. I'm not sure how much of a pipe dream that is, but it's been fine with me so far. But yeah, it's just nice to have some kind of counterplay you can play without having to actually use energy in this deck. So that's the main deck. Some other ideas for either side decks or additional cards to put in this deck. We've got Senzu Bean, of course. I just felt like this didn't do anything, didn't approach it's blue, which can help too, but I didn't feel like this really furthered our win condition that much. We're kind of okay with us, our opponent hitting our face sometimes, just so we get some more card. But there's that. Slumber Strike, I thought was a great way for card removal, especially when you pair it up with your awakened leader's effect, where you can just remove barrier from something and then just use 1 energy to blow it up. So that's a good idea for side. This card's great, and if I wasn't trying to be hipster with my 3 colors, I'd probably put it in. But so auto, when you activate this card, you can't activate that again for duration of the turn. If your leader card is Dr. Uiro card, look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Dr. Uiro or Dr. Cochin among them. Add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you added a card to your hand, choose up to 1 of your green energy, switch it to active mode. So it's just free cycle, right? You can only use 1, but it's free cycle. and looking for your Dr. Uiro or your Dr. Cochin. So it makes sense, but there's no room in it. Also, I've seen a lot of people go the ramp direction. I don't think this is wrong at all. And probably, I haven't played them all, but I can see this being better just because, it's dropping 2 of these 6 drops can pretty much win you the game. So, getting to 6 energy as fast as you can makes sense to me. But, so there's that. And with the new, and, this is blue-green, which also makes sense for the energy, which also works for, infinite energy as well. But I think this one's the best. The only thing I don't like about these is that it just leaves us open for attacks. Because, you play this, and then if you have a blue-green multicolored card in your energy, when you play this card from your hand, place the top card of your deck in your energy, and you can't play battle cards as power between 30k and 35k for duration of the game, which doesn't affect us at all because Dr. Uiro is 25k conveniently. So that's that. Some extra cards from there. So Dr. Uiro's Revival. This card really only makes sense if you're also running the 4-drop. But the idea when you play this is that you get to play a Dr. Uiro card and you drop it and it costs a 4 less and play it. So you can use this and you can get like the Gigantic Bomber back again, which means that you use 2 cards, you get 2 more cards under there. It doesn't, and also the 4-drop. So this is one of the villainous ones that just got announced. But when you play this card, choose up to 1 Frenzied Warrior card in your drop area, add to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. And then also for 2 green, choose out 1 Dr. Cochin card in your battle area and KO it. Play this card from your hand, which also, it says KO it. So if you do it on top of the 2, the revive one, you can just revive it back, which means you get another card in your lab. So there's some cool synergy there and all that. It just felt like it was too specific to fit into this, but I think there is some potential there. Vegeta the Cruel. Great card, and if I felt like this was, I think if you really want to put this in here, I think you could. Just the fact that this card can go +1 as well, and remove a threat from your opponent's side of the field, and then also make them pitch a card. I don't think this card's bad at all. I just didn't find room, and I thought Champa was more important, and we wanted more yellow cards for the tricolor stuff. So there's that. And then lastly, Piccolo. I really almost feel like it's incorrect to put him there, not have him in, but so use Deflect, Auto Bond 3. When you play this card, choose 1. Your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and place it under your lab, or your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and sends them to their warp. So being able to just pitch 2 cards from your opponent's hand is fantastic. I think this card can actually probably be really good in a hand control variant, which Namekians are good for, and I think this would be great for that. I didn't think it felt like it fit in here, and it was a little bit too costly. And I don't know, Bond 3 is a big commitment as well, having 2 cards out in the field. And I felt like there's just too much, board destruction right now to make it worth it. But he also becomes a 3-drop, which means if Dr. Cochin's out, so that's a good thing as well. I thought it was a little bit too much of a pipe dream, and I'd rather just be defensive and reactionary than really aggressive with this deck. So that's that. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if tricolor is a little bit too ambitious, or if it makes sense to you guys. I think like the ramp variants might be more consistent, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say because they probably get to play 1 or 2 of these more consistently a game, but it also makes them like more wide open to attacks, and messes up your hand advantage and that kind of stuff. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.